end of it as if he has multiple tools. He's got one, quantitative easy. There is nothing else.
Thank you very much, Dan.
The opinions and recommendations expressed by Dan are his own and do not necessarily represent the opinions of this station or any of the show's sponsors.
866-300-9298. 866-300-9298 if you want to weigh in. If you've got your financial question. Let me just finish up with Suzanne. Suzanne, so no, I'm not talking about, so that's qualified money. It's IRA money. So I don't want you, I don't know if I misunderstood. I thought it sounded to me like you had an IRA at the credit union, that you had in a CD because you said you got notice that it was coming due. So I guess I was confused because that's what I was assuming when you said you had a credit union and you just got notice that it was coming, something was coming due. And I just assumed that. And I should have asked you the question. If you're with Prudential, it means you have an annuity, an IRA annuity. So I don't understand. I still don't understand why you only have once a year. You can make a change, but regardless of that, you have an IRA annuity. Now, if you were to get out of the Prudential altogether, there may or may not be a surrender charge. If there was no surrender charge, then you could just roll it over into another IRA. You wouldn't roll it over into like a savings account or some other kind of account. What you would do is you would open an IRA account at the credit union and you would roll it over into that and you would tell them to leave it in a money market account. Or you can tell your Prudential person that you want to put it in a money market account. So they have options of what they allow. Just put it in the money market account or put it in, if they don't have one, and just ask him what the most conservative thing he has and put it into that. So that would be the right thing to do. And yes, it would be a whole year, I guess, that it would be there, but I'm okay with that. Better that than make another commitment for a year and something that may not do too well. You know, there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than being locked into something. So all of you listening that have a mutual fund or something that for some reason, I'm not sure what that reason might be, but for some reason you're locked into, there is nothing worse than that. I mean, it is really a difficult situation when you're locked in, because suppose the market is going up and you're in something really conservative and it looks as though there's actually some stability in the market. I don't know if we'll see that for a while, but just suppose that's the case. You can do nothing. You got to sit there. Suppose it's gone down and you're in something that is relatively aggressive. There's nothing you can do about it. You just got to hang in there and live with it, because there's nothing you can do about it until that year is up. So I don't like anything like that, but that's beside the point. There's nothing you can do about that. So I would just tell them you want it in something conservative for a year, and let's wait and see what the end of the year brings. Hopefully that helps. 866-300-9298. All the major indices in on negative territory. The Dow's now down 48. So it looked like it was going to open higher, but it's down 48. So the market's not having a good week so far. Gold looks like it's just hanging around, doing very little right now. We continue to see oil. Oil continues to be up. It's at 98 even right now. Oil's at 98. I said earlier in the week that we're headed towards 100. That's not a good thing. It looks like that's the case. So that's where oil is right now. But gold is down considerably. Gold is down to 1234. Gold is down considerably. Silver, 1971. Natural gas holding on there, and that's up to 4.41, and that's due to the cold weather. It was 16 degrees this morning here when I got up, so I can relate to natural gas right now because all I could hear was my gas burner running. I said to my wife, is this thing going to shut off anytime soon? I get nervous. But, prices are going up. I mean, we're having an awfully cold winter in the Northeast. We had a record cold November. We could end up with a record cold December, it looks like. We've got about 12 inches of snow sitting out here on the ground that doesn't look like it's going anywhere. We had 2 snowstorms already, which is very unusual for where I live this early in the year. But that would be the reason why natural gas is up. Let me go back to the phones, 866-300-9298. Let me go to Janie. Janie's calling us from Tennessee. Hey, Janie.
Hello.
Yes.
I was just, I am 70 years old, turned 70 years old just a month ago.
Okay.
And so I know that this coming year I'm going to have to start drawing out of a retirement account that I have.
Yes.
I continue to work, and I make about probably $35,000 a year this year. And I have a retirement account with a major broker, and it's about $250,000 there. And I'm just wondering what I need to be doing with that. And I plan to continue to work as long as my health is good, and it is very good. So
good for you.
I just, how much should I start taking? Even more than the percentage that I will have to take next year, and try to move that money out of there, or what would I do with it if I did?
Let me ask you this. If something were to happen to you today and the Lord were to call you home, where's that money going to go?
To my children.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, you would be doing them a service by, and you've got a fair amount of money there. So you're not going to, you won't be able to contribute next year. So I would start withdrawing more. Here's the problem, though. You're working, you're making 35. So you've got to be careful about how much, you draw out, because you don't.
I'm making 35, and then I'm getting about 18 in Social Security.
So over and above that.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I would draw, whoever does your taxes, I would ask them what's going to be the number that's going to push me in another tax bracket. And if he or she says it's going to be, $20,000, then I would probably draw out $15,000, just to stay on the safe side. But yes, I think you should make that draw. And you could do it twice and then move it over into a savings, for your children. But you ought to think about moving that out of there. You could do some this year, even, you don't have to because you're not 70 and a half, but you could do some this month and then do it again in January for the year. Okay.
All right. And let me ask this. What I have invested, I think, and I'm not looking at my paperwork right now because I'm on the cell phone in the car, but I'm pulled off to the side.
Okay, good.
I'm not driving.
Good.
But I think it's about a 60-40 mix, with 60 in what they tell me are, more secure things, some bonds and things like that, and the rest in mutual funds of 40. Is that a good mix, or what should I do?
Well, I don't think it is. I think, well, first of all, that the 60 that is supposed to be the safer portion has probably gotten hurt a little bit this year compared to the 40. It's probably been the other way, around, in the sense that has come down. The 40 has lifted it up, and that's good. But I would probably change it up a little bit, and I'd like to see about 10 to 15% in cash, money market, and then maybe another 30 to 40% in what you have it in, as far as the bonds and the more conservative. I don't want to see more than 30% in exposed to the market, exposed to equities. I don't think that's a good idea. So I think that if you cut that down to 30%, that 40 to 30, and then maybe put 20% in cash for now, 10 from that cutback, and another 10% from the 60 you have, taking that to 50. I think that might be a good plan right now. And go ahead.
Are you going to be holding any meetings in Tennessee anytime soon?
You know what? We haven't been to Tennessee in a while. We were in Memphis a couple years ago, and I don't know if we have Tennessee on the drawing board for 2014 or not, but I'll sure check into it. See
Okay.
what part of Tennessee you in, Janie?
Eastern Tennessee.
Eastern Tennessee. Okay. Well, we'll certainly put it on the list and give it some thought. It's a great idea. We haven't been there in a while.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for my call.
You're welcome. Thank you. 866-300-9298. Let me go to Stephen. Stephen calling us from South Carolina. Hey, Stephen.
Dan, hi there. Hey, I appreciate your show and everything you do, buddy.
Sure, thank you.
Listen every chance I get. So
thanks.
I got two things. I'll make it really quick, and then I'll listen. One is, does it make sense generally always to convert over an IRA to a Roth account? Let's say you're a younger person, you got less than $40,000 in one or two accounts. Does it make sense to go ahead and convert it, even if it's at a higher tax bracket now, knowing that you'll probably be, most likely you might be in a lower tax bracket in retirement, but yet you're paying it on a lesser amount, even at a higher tax bracket now, and you're going to enjoy drawing all the earnings plus the base in retirement tax free, even if it is at a lower tax bracket.
I think it does make sense.
Go ahead and convert it.
Yeah, I think it does, Stephen. I think it makes sense. I think if you're if you're okay in the sense that you're okay with paying the tax, I think it makes sense. And the other thing is, I don't know, I hope I'm wrong on this for sure, but I kind of believe that, at least if you look at current circumstances, I kind of believe that the theory of we're going to be in a lower tax bracket when we retire is almost out the door. I mean, I think that we're certainly going to be in a lower income bracket. So one would think that you're going to be adjusted downward from a tax bracket standpoint. But, I'm not so sure. There's not going to be numerous other things that we're going to be paying taxes on, whether we're 95 or 35. And so I'm a little concerned about that. That's not the reason I'm telling you to do it now. But I do think it makes sense.
Okay. One other thing, universal life insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in thinking that if you take one of those out, which maybe you would advise against, but if you did have one of those, you need to look at it as it's strictly for passing on to your heirs, because the whole idea that you can, borrow out of the cash value and whatnot, it seems to me, just from what I've read, and I've actually got one that I'm thinking about whether I should keep it or close it out, is a bit of a joke in that if you borrow against it, you pay the insurance company back, right? Because you lose that time of investment earnings, and they're taking 4% or 5% for you borrowing your own money. So really, if you look at that, you have to look at it as a whole life policy. Forget any other bells and whistles, because it's not really worth it. And you could probably make more just investing on your own by maybe 2 or 3%.
You're 100% correct on that, Stephen. It shouldn't be considered an investment. And if you already have it and you want to pass it on to your heirs, that's probably the only good you're going to get out of it. But let me just caution you. This is one of those coachable moments that helps me help some other folks. Here's what oftentimes happens with those kinds of policies. And I've seen it, I don't know how many times, countless times. But we get to where we have cash value. And the cash value, so now I'm 70 years old. And the cash value is contributing to the premiums or to the mortality charges that is coming out. So the cash value is supposedly going to produce enough dividends and interest to pay sometimes they're set up as a point of being paid up, where you no longer have to put any money into it if you don't want to, and gets to the point where it's paying some of that mortality charge. I don't want to ever see a policy get to the point of that. because what oftentimes happens is all of a sudden we're 80 years old and the mortality charge is huge and it's sucking dry the cash value until it's all gone. Then you get a bill to pay a $2,500 premium if you want to keep your death benefit. And most people don't do it. And the only one that wins in that is the insurance company. So I would watch it very carefully and be very careful of that as you get older. I wish I could elaborate on a little more, Stephen, right up against the break here. Thanks for the call, though. Great question. 866-300-9298 if you want to weigh in. We'll be right back after this.